I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds.
I'm having a repressed memory, but in college, did we tap to Singin' in the Rain?
Define we.
In musical theater rep class, wasn't they taught us?
Yes,
they
it
taught
wasn't.
us
We
to
didn't
Singin' in the
perform
Rain.
it.
Yes. And then we learned one that was like for the workshop. That's what we learned. It was Singin' in the Rain. And then for the actual presentation at the end, Caitlin choreographed us Secretary's Not a Toy. I think that's what happened. Either way.
Listeners will never know.
We'll never know.
Welcome back.
But once upon a time, Adam and I did tap into a little
RJ, you are jumping
ahead. Oh, the background information. That wasn't even part of my background or relationship.
We'll save it for then. How dare. Hi, Molly.
Hi. I was going to say, I thought we were going to have this like really sincere, straightforward episode because we like started with the most on the nose song we could start with, whatever.
Yeah, no jokes.
But immediately we descended into couple bickering.
Absolutely. I've been at home for 2 weeks, like not been able to go outside. Mm-hmm. And Adam has been taking care of me just like very Misery style.
Nurse Ratched.
Yeah.
If you're familiar.
And I just recovered from COVID, so Adam is the only person who's been allowed to leave his house in last week.
So we are breaking HIPAA, and we're talking about Molly's COVID. Molly,
I'm so sorry to HIPAA. I'll send you a text later to say I'm sorry.
My apologies to HIPAA.
My apologies sincerely to HIPAA. But I can tell you that I, in fact, did have COVID.
Yes, this is Molly, by the way, listeners, not a young Kathleen Turner who's joining us. A young Lauren Bacall. Hello.
A bit raspy, yeah.
How was it? What was your...
It was totally fine. It was like a moderate cold.
Good, because you're vaccinated. Yeah.
I am vaccinated. Listeners,
Could you
get
imagine?
vaccinated.
That's what
I
Molly
cannot imagine.
And you know what? That was crazy because I wasn't even vaccinated.
Listeners, if it is... Wait, hold on.
A real turn.
If it's September 15th, which is the day this comes out, and you have still, of 2022, I want to be clear, and you still are on the fence about getting the COVID vaccine, I'm going to urge you here on this platform, this small platform that we have, to go do that. They even have a regular vaccine now, like not mRNA. They have a protein.
Yeah. If you will not trust a medical doctor, trust a doctor of theater. That you should get a COVID vaccine. I thought when you said, could you imagine, you meant just like, could you imagine if we have listeners who are unvaccinated? And like, even that was so outside of my realm. I just feel like if you're listening to this, I just don't think you're the type, but like, maybe I'm wrong. You should get vaccinated.
Like if you're interested in musical theater, I feel like there's some level of like, I want theater back. So yes, let's.
You want theater back, and we're rule followers. This is a goody two shoes genre. Come on.
Yeah, so today we're talking about Singin' in the Rain, which is like the
cleanest, squeakiest, squeaky clean. Yeah.
Although, boy, do I have a story about pubic hair later.
Oh God! Again?
It has to do with the movie. Ironic. RJ, this week your challenge is to summarize the plot of Singin' in the Rain.
Oh, okay.
1952 in a minute or less, and your time starts now.
Don Lockwood is a hot star of the silent film era and is in an even hotter showmance with his star Lena Lamont for publicity, much to her advances. A run-in with a wild mob of his fans causes Don to flee right into the car of Kathy Selden, an aspiring stage actress who unintentionally puts down Don's work as not a real actual art form. Kathy is discovered to be a chorus girl and ends up throwing cake at Lena's face when she tries to escape from Don's teasing and loses her job. The age of film evolves into talkies, and the demand for Monumental Pictures to release their first talking picture is great. They realize that they are not ready for it, mostly because of their leading lady's unflattering voice. Don and Kathy make up and fall in love, and her talent ends up being the saving grace thanks to head of music department and Don's longtime vaudeville partner Cosmo Brown to turn their current film into the first ever movie musical musical and for Kathy to be the singing voice of Lena. But don't tell Lena. Well, she finds out and one-ups the studio by giving exclusive scoop that her beautiful singing voice will be what takes Monumental Pictures to the next level. And it almost works, including a very successful movie premiere. But Lena is caught in her lip syncing and Kathy is revealed as the true talent. And everyone is so excited for the next movie musical, Singin' in the Rain.
And that was only 12 seconds over time.
Oof,
Wow,
okay. 12 seconds,
okay.
I'll take it.
I liked some of the, cadence of the don't tell Lena, but she finds out. That was really great in many ways, RJ. So I'm going to do a compliment sandwich here. But I need you.
Are you about to say what the thing we both went?
Oh, no.
I need you to tell me what much to her advances means.
I was trying to be like, because she is the one pursuing, but he is not. What do you call that? How do you describe that?
She is making advances on him, but
Yeah,
much to
I
her
think-
advances is literal
So the
gobbledygook.
phrase-
I think I word
You
jumbled
mixed
that
it. You portmanteaued the phrase, much to her chagrin.
6 to 1, half a dozen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
which
Yeah.
would not make sense here because it is the opposite of her chagrin that
Correct.
she is
so-
excited that he is. Yeah.
Okay. Who's
Yeah.
chagrin? Who owns
Who owns
the
chagrin?
chagrin?
Pippa. She
Pippa
has a
does,
big
yeah.
bucket of chagrin
who
out
is,
in the back.
who is accountable for the chagrin and who is
Much to his chagrin is
Much
maybe
to-
what you wanted to say.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
Great. So sorry, I said I was going to compliment sandwich. So
So
also, you're a
She's
great
got
friend.
nothing.
also you're a caring individual.
Great. So I'm going to start this week by saying I had never seen this movie before last night.
You want to call
Unbelievable.
HIPAA? Call HIPAA for this one, right? This
This
violation
is
right
this
here.
sure is a violation over here.
Call OSHA, call HIPAA.
OSHA, call HIPAA, call FEMA, call
The
everyone.
bomb squad, everyone.
Call SWAT, everybody, girl.
And I don't know why. This seems like a movie that I would have seen. I had seen so many.
I'm
old
shocked
movie
you
musicals.
didn't own it. It just
I
feels like a
know.
movie that your mom would own. and
I
love.
have no idea if my mom has seen this movie. I have to assume that my mom has seen this movie, but it wasn't, even if it is. Now, here's what I will say. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. My mom doesn't like jazz to the point at which hello, Mom. She doesn't like West Side Story because of it, because it's all jazz music. And she didn't like La La Land. That's a story for another day. And specifically like 7 weeks from now.
Jazz as in like,
The art of.
because I don't know.
Style of.
It's like musical jazz.
Yes.
Not like, okay. Because this feels more like
Jazz dance.
no, because this like the jazz that's like in this movie and in like La La Land and West Side Story feels very much like what Anne Margaret dances to, like that, like
Yes.
that.
She hate anything. She calls it beatniky.
Yes, that's the word. Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
Of.
And I would say that for the most part, this movie is very not that. Like, this takes place in the jazz age, technically.
Yeah.
But, like, the only thing that happens very, like, mod about it is the Broadway melody ballet
Gotta
in the
dance,
middle, or
yeah.
in the, like, back half of the film.
Right. I mean, I
The
guess,
guys in Dawson.
I
the
guess I
guys
see,
in Dawson.
RJ, what you're getting at with, like, defining jazz, because if we're talking beatniky, that's very, like, 60s jazz, but, like, this is the jazz era of the 20s, which is a very different, thing.
Yes,
I
Right.
love all of those things, though, so
Right.
sorry, Nan, we don't see it eye to eye on this one.
Yeah, because what is your cutoff? I think it's, like, 1959
it's like disco
or something
or
like
like just
Uh,
early 70s.
what
isn't
did
it?
I
that. No,
say?
it was, the 70s was the exact middle.
think
I
it's,
think it
like,
was, like, 50 to
52.
90.
Yeah. 50 to 90 is about the right range. Yeah.
This movie sneaks in, obviously, because all these songs were written in 1927, and then just reused later. We'll talk about that.
Exactly.
But so I'd never seen this movie before. I knew it was great. This is AFI's top musical. This is the top 5 movies of American films of all time. This is on most people's like best films ever list. Like, I knew I was gonna like it. I didn't know I was going to love it, and I genuinely was like, wow, this is actually a perfect movie. Like, I really had no notes. There's one thing that I would like change, but other than that, I was like, and we'll get to it, but I was like,
Okay.
wow, the comedy is hitting, the screenplay slaps, the music is a bop, the dances are incredible in this movie.
Yeah, who knew he could dance, huh?
Who knew Gene Kelly could dance? Did we know?
A revelation.
A revelation.
Um,
I wish he made a career out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a shame.
What a shame. But yeah, I loved it. So I can't wait to like put it in my regular musical rotation.
Oh, like producing?
Yes. In my book.
In our first season for the Showgays company that we're opening up.
Yeah.
Molly.
RJ?
I was gonna ask you, Molly, because
I think that RJ should go first.
Okay.
I'm not any better, although I do have I have a card where I didn't grow up here, so I'll use that. But I didn't do any better, and I watched this like around 2016. But it was like a Fathom Events. They showed the movie on the theater.
Who did you watch this with?
I saw it with my friend Anne in Florida, who loves this movie, and she was like, "I know you guys love musicals, so let's go see it." And so I saw it with Ashley, our friend Ashley, who like produced theater with in Florida. And I was like, wow, yeah, this is amazing. I was like, yep, this is literally like define movie musical. See Singin' in the Rain. And then it kind of like encapsulates everything in like one pretty movie. But I had like, obviously I had seen clips of different things. So I had seen the clip of Good Morning. That's like the main one. And also in the Great Movie Ride at Hollywood Studios, an old ride where it takes you through different movies. One of them is Singin' in the Rain. There's an animatronic of Gene Kelly doing Singin' in the Rain and an umbrella. So
I not only have seen this before, I wanted to go last because I want to throw down the gauntlet and say that this is the best movie musical ever made.
Yeah, I mean, you have room to stand on for sure.
Because I know though, Adam, don't you think that Sound of Music is the best?
Yes, I do. I also know that I have nostalgia glasses on for that film. So I do take everybody's biggest problem with Sound of Music is the fact that it's 3 hours long.
It's very long.
And I do take that into account. This is not a 3-hour film.
No.
Hour 40 something.
Yeah, great.
On HBO Max.
I will say that I watched both Sound of Music and Singing in the Rain from a young age. So I have in theory, I could have equal nostalgia glasses for both, and I think Singing in the Rain is superior. So I think this is a perfect movie with, actually, I will say there are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, flawless, amazing, beautiful, stunning. You know, the sister I never had, the mother I've always wanted.
Yeah.
It's everything.
This movie is crazy too because I was watching it and I was like, wow, we're not even gonna have to talk about like women's roles and like patriarchy, or do you think we have to?
A little bit, but like whatever.
But not any more than like coming off of the heels of Carousel a few weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, what a breath of a sip of fresh water to have after the desert that was Carousel.
But yeah, it's great. But let's talk about the background. So Singin' in the Rain is directed by Gene Kelly and Stanley Donan. Gene Kelly and Stanley Donan had just directed, and Gene Kelly obviously starred in An American in Paris the year before, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Huge success. And An American in Paris was so big that when, obviously this is the time before we're in you could own entertainment at home, right? Like if there was a movie, you just had to go see it at the movies when they re-released it back into the theaters for whatever. So a movie would win Best Picture and theaters would bring the movie back to the theaters. This actually hurt Singin' in the Rain and their like box office
because they were competing,
because it was going to be competing. So they were like, well, they're both MGM, so we'll just take out Singin' in the Rain and put in American in Paris. So we don't know what the actual like box office could have potentially been if it had not been messed with in that way. But so just coming off of that, Stanley Donan had also directed Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which is a very famous movie musical. It is written by Adolph Green and Betty Comden. God, the time when people got named Adolf. Just that it's not a name.
PH.
It is produced by Arthur Freed. It stars Gene Kelly as Don Lockwood.
Oh, good old Dan Lock over there.
Girl, I almost said Dan Crenshaw, which is
famous star of Singing in the Rain, Donald Kremger.
Rufus Scrimger.
Donald Gleason.
Donald O'Connor plays Cosmo. Does Cosmo have a last name?
Cosmo Brown.
How do you know this?
I literally just
wrote
said
it in his
out.
summary.
I wrote it
Oh,
in his summary.
Cosmo
Goral?
Brown. Oh, it's right there. Cosmo Brown.
Listeners, Adam did not put in the table.
I usually
of
do a little
character
table of the
names.
character names next to it. And I didn't do it today.
Note this
Didn't
time.
take
Debbie Reynolds plays Kathy Selden.
Kathy Selden. Yep.
That's
Kathy
right.
Selden. Jean Hagen plays Lena Lamont. Millard Mitchell is a character. Plays a character in this film.
Yeah.
My guess, if I was just to take a guess, my guess is that Millard Mitchell plays the studio head.
The producer. I think that's right.
Uh,
It's like AF something.
Go down. R.F. Simpson.
AF. He's
Close.
Oh. I have no joke.
He's trying to make a joke where he can say the punchline is AF, but nothing.
Yeah.
And Sid Charisse, famed ballet dancer, talent extraordinaire, movie star, it plays the dancing person that he dances with
She's the
in the
dancer.
ballet. She's
Yeah.
the dancer. She has no name. The Bob. She plays the Bob. The cinematography is by Harold Rawson. It is edited by Adrian Fazan. The music is by Nacio Herb Brown and lyrics are by Arthur Freed. The color process is Technicolor. I just want to put that out there. Its production company is MGM. It was released. It had its debut on March 27th, 1952, and then it went wide April 11th, 1952. Its running time is 103 minutes.
Amazing.
Beautiful. An hour 43. Its country is from the United States. I never say that. I don't know why I did. Its budget was
The language
is English. The budget is 2.54 million, and the box office is 7.2. I'm not sure how much of that is like since the dawn of time. Box Office Mojo doesn't go
I feel
back
like
that far.
Since the dawn of time has to be more than 7.2 million for Singing in the Rain.
So this was not. Well, we'll get into it. Oh, we can get into it right now.
We're in the show.
I'm sorry, am I off topic by talking about budget?
Am I talking about the movie?
So,
God.
Singin' in the Rain was not a huge success. Like, it did moderately well. It was like the 10th biggest movie of the year, but that was really just because it was like an MGM musical. But there were a bunch of MGM musicals that year. So it's not even like, it wasn't even like that well. Like, people were like, oh, it's good. And like the reviews were good. But like, just generally, the public wasn't like crazy for Singin' in the Rain.
Mhm.
And then it was re-released to theaters in 1959. And that's when it started being like, this is the best musical ever made. And then it's just kind of ever since then been like a stalwart of.
Yeah. So I'm saying
Canon.
7.2 million probably reflects the initial release, because surely if it's including everything since then, wouldn't it be more than 7.2 million? It's one of the like
guess.
most beloved films of all time. I think it's made
I
more
guess.
than 7.2 million.
Yeah. So it came about because Arthur Freed he worked at MGM, and he just had an idea to use the back catalog of songs that he had with Nacio Herb Brown. And so he was like, oh, well, we'll get Adolph Green and Betty Comden, who I'm now going to refer to as Green and Comden for the rest of this conversation. Green and Comden to write the screenplay to tie the songs together. So this is what we would call a jukebox musical. We had this conversation back in Mamma Mia. There are a bunch of different versions of what a jukebox musical is, but basically, for the Spark Notes version, a jukebox musical is a musical that uses songs that are not originally made for the piece and then ties the songs around them.
It often now also is like around one famous artist or musical act or whatever, which wouldn't have been the case here, right? It's not like people knew Freed and Brown as like
Correct.
a duo, but
Correct.
it was, they started with the music and they worked backwards.
Correct.
It was an actual shelf in their office. There were like songs we never.
But
Yeah.
I will say this is almost how all old musicals like used to happen, especially in the like just beginning in the advent of sound and film. They're just a bunch of like there are a lot of like musical reviews, so they're just like scenes of them singing a song and doing a number, and then it just goes to another scene. Like there's no plot to tie them together, or if there is a plot, it's very loose. So this is kind of like thematically also harkening back to that time that the movie is about. So because all of the songs were written around that like late 20s, early 30s time, that's why Green and Comden decided to write the story of the transition from silent to audio. And then it was originally supposed to be Howard Keel, who starred as the like main male protagonist in Annie Get Your Gun. And it was going to be, his background was not vaudeville star, song and dance man, but his background was like cowboy. And then it was going to like tie that in. But then the more they wrote it, the more they just like, it just works better the way the movie is now. So they ended up not going with Howard Keel, and they took it to Gene Kelly and Stanley Donan, who again were working on American in Paris, and they loved it. And Gene was like, I will absolutely do this. This is a sleigh. This is a bop. It's giving me everything. And the movie originally had 3 distinct openings. So there was like the idea that the movie was going to start with a movie premiere, and then there was an idea that the movie was going to start with this like magazine interview about this like celebrity's like past, and then there was like a beginning that was like a boy meets girl, boy loses girl really quickly, and that's how it like all begins. And so they were like, why don't we just smush all 3 together? And that's how you have the brilliance of that like first 10 minutes that like slams you into the like plot really quickly, which is great. And then the movie just like happened. I mean, this is a time when like the studio system was still alive and well, God bless. So they just cranked them out. Like there's no rivalry. There's no like crazy stories to go on. They just like made the movie. However, we have to talk about how Gene Kelly was a perfectionist, and he was a very mean person. And he demanded a lot. And Debbie Reynolds was like, she was 19 when she was cast, which is nuts. And she was still living at home with her parents. She took 3 buses to get to the shoot every day.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. This is also her 5th movie. So it's not even, or no, her 6th movie. So it's not even like she hadn't done any, like she's a brand, and introducing Debbie Reynolds. Like she had done a few movies, but she was still like that, not well known. And they hired her. Gene Kelly met her. He said, how well do you dance? And she said, I can dance a little. And he was like immediately not on board. So her background is gymnastics. So she like definitely like is athletic and like able to move and like do stuff. But she just had, she had to meet Gene Kelly.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
impossible. I mean, it's impossible for like anybody. And there were many times that she would like leave the set crying because he would like yell at her and like scream at her and berate her. And he started ending up switching and yelling at Donald O'Connor because he knew he could take it, and that if he yelled at her, she would like cry and run off the set, and they would have to delay production. So just to not have production delays, he just started yelling at Donald O'Connor instead of her, but it was intended for her.
Oh my God.
Anyway, men are psycho. But
because not yelling is never one of the options. That would have been one of the
correct.
choices. Yeah.
The other thing I needed to say was that one time she ran off the set crying. She ran under a piano and was like crying on the MGM studio. This is crazy.
So
she's crying on the MGM studio, right? Studio lot somewhere. Who knows? Who comes up to her but Fred fucking Astaire and is like, what's wrong? And she like tells him, she's like, I'm not a good dancer, blah, blah, blah. And he offers to like give her dance lessons to help her get better.
Wow.
Hollywood was not real. Like I don't believe that any of this can't happen today.
But it's
first of all, nothing's shot in Hollywood, so that's why it can't happen.
Imagine just like, like studio contracts still existing, and that's the thing. It's like these people clock in and out together.
There's
a cafeteria.
Yeah, it's also such a like funny boomer hiring story, which is how Gene Kelly gets famous in this movie, is him being on the set and being like, "Well, Gene, Mr. Director, I can do that." Yeah. And then he's a movie star. Yeah,
it's very that energy when you're like trying to get your first job and your parents are like, "Well, you just go up to places and ask if they're hiring."
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. Anyway, so that's a crazy story. And then the other thing about Debbie Reynolds and her treatment was that she had said, looking back, that the 2 hardest things she ever did in her life was childbirth and singing in the rain. So good for her. She made it through.
We love you, Debbie.
We love you, Debbie, Deborah.
Yeah.
That being said, in his later years, he reflected back on it and was like, I was very mean to her and I shouldn't have been. And I'm very surprised that she still talks to me. And she went on record as saying, like, it definitely helped me learn discipline and blah, 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 blah. I don't think you need to learn it that way, but as long as she came out on the other side and she was fine.
Yeah. She found a silver lining.
Fine.
Yeah.
The craziest story is that the infamous song Good Morning, which is, I think, my favorite song. I don't know, maybe. They danced that song from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. They did like 40 takes. And by the end of the day, her feet were bleeding. And then he still ended up dubbing over her taps because it wasn't just right.
Yeah.
And so like all of it was like for nothing. I mean, not for nothing, obviously. She's still you see
tapping.
it.
Yeah.
So she's still doing it, but that's such a ugh. And then she was originally supposed to be Sid Charisse in the like ballet sequence, but like they were like, she's not going to get we're not going to get there. So we're just going to cast somebody else, which is fine. It wouldn't have really made sense if it was her. I don't think, because it's supposed to be like in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, then you could argue it should be Lena.
Right.
It's supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah. The movie, as they describe it, makes no sense. But we'll talk about that later.
It's great. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Citrus is perfect. It's all great. I'm glad it all happened the way that it did. I feel like it probably could have been just as good without Gene Kelly yelling quite as much, but otherwise happy with it.
Yes. But all that being said, there is like, you would not, I believe their chemistry 110%.
Yeah.
I was shocked to read that he was like very mean to her because I was like, I mean, I knew in the back of my mind, I'd heard stories that Gene Kelly was like very, like he cracked the whip and he was like, I shouldn't say that. I heard stories that Gene Kelly was like a hard ass basically. And so I knew that, but it doesn't come off at all. And they completely seem like they're in love with each other.
Yet again, casting people who hate each other as romantic leads, it works every time.
Except for the one.
Except for
Hello Dolly.
I think Hello Dolly doesn't work because Barbra Streisand is 17 years old when she does that movie.
And Walter Matthau was in his crypt.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then the other couple background things that I think are really interesting. So this is a movie in which the plot revolves around Debbie Reynolds' character dubbing Lena Lamont.
I love this anecdote. Yes.
But in fact, Debbie Reynolds is dubbed in this movie. Not every time. There's only specifically a couple times. So the last song that they sing together right at the end, she's dubbed in that sequence. The other time she's dubbed when she sings is when she's like recording the song and they're like in the studio with the like orchestra. And you remember I turned to you and I was like, is that her
voice?
And he was like, I think so. And I was like, it just sounds so different. It sounds so like deep. And like because she was 19, she still sounded like so young that they like dubbed over her. And I don't think I wrote down
Betty Noyes.
Betty Noyes,
dubbed for her.
She dubbed the singing. But this is the best one. So the scene in which they're doing the ADR, the what is that?
Added dialogue
recording. Basically, she's seeing the scene play out, and then she's recording, matching her speaking to the lips happening on the screen. That is actually Jean Hagen, who plays Lena. That is her actual voice that comes out of. So it's Jean Hagen dubbing Debbie Reynolds, dubbing Jean Hagen.
Yeah.
Which is like a hat on a hat on a hat, but it works so well.
It's amazing.
And Jean Hagen apparently like was known for having like this very like round sound and like incredible voice and like blah 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 blah, like super famous in Hollywood for it. So this is why people think like she's the only one that got the Oscar nomination, was because it was such a like change for her to do that.
And the vocal choices are
so good,
incredible,
so believable too. Like and like consistent the entire time. Like she didn't like crack at all.
No, and it's not. It's still it's a character that's still in the real world.
Yeah,
like it's not like it's not so out of left field that I'm like, okay, there's no way they would ever put up with this woman. Like it's just real enough that I'm like, they would tolerate this woman.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And apparently she didn't even like. People have wondered if she had like taken it from maybe Silent Stars of the Air, but she actually developed the voice from the Judy Holliday performance in I didn't write the movie down, but Judy Holliday did this movie. it's like a drama where she like plays this like Bronx housewife, and that's like this voice she does, and so she just like basically
Born
took
Yesterday.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I think I've seen that, or at least I know of it. Yeah.
that was a clip I watched earlier.
Oh, yes. Our school did it as a play. Our high school did it as a play.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
yes, that's like the very specific like New York
Yeah.
accent.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love that. The last thing is the Singing in the Rain dance sequence. Gene Kelly had 103-degree fever.
Wow.
The rain caused his wool suit to shrink. And then there are two myths that need to be dispelled. The myth is that the scene was shot in one take. It actually took 2 to 3 days. And the other myth was that the water was mixed with milk so it could show up better on film, which is not true. It was just backlit really well. So we want to put misinformation to rest on this podcast.
I didn't actually end up looking it up to check, but I was like, when we were watching it, I was like, isn't
How
there a
many
thing that they put
takes?
milk in the water?
Oh,
And
no.
I feel like that's probably going to turn out to be false. And so I'm glad that you did the research to be able to say, yeah, that's a rumor.
But then for awards, like I said, Jean Hagen was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She did not win. And Lenny Hayton, that's so funny. Lenny Hayton was nominated for Best Scoring of a Musical Picture, which is, again, like so weird that the only 2 Academy Awards that this movie like was nominated for were 2 like not top tier, and also they didn't win.
Yeah.
But at the Golden Globes, I only bring this up to say Donald O'Connor won Best Actor in a Motion Picture for Musical or Comedy, not Gene Kelly, which I think is very interesting. Now, Donald O'Connor gives a performance to slay House Mama Down Boots.
It's a
It's
big
so
slay.
good.
It's a pretty big slay.
It's incredible.
It's a huge slay.
So I'm
It's
not
a
even trying. I'm
huge
not even trying to
slay.
say he shouldn't have gotten
it's
this
the
award.
biggest slay maybe I've ever seen. Is he gonna jump from there?
Is he gonna
That's
jump
the
from-
level of slay.
The entire time for Make 'em Laugh was like, is he gonna jump,
gonna
from,
jump
there?
from there?
Constantly asking.
And then the movie was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, but it did not win. I didn't look up what won. I should have looked up what won that year, but
It's a
I'm
flop.
noticing-
We know it. Yeah.
it's a flop. If it's not
Something
Singing in
else.
the Rain, it's a
It's a
flop.
flop.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. I'm not sure where to start, other than like to reiterate what Molly said. This is practically perfect. Like
Yeah.
it's so enjoyable. The pacing is incredible. The jokes hit, and I had such a good time that it was like over before I knew it.
Yeah.
Adam had to look at me and was like, I'm so mad that I've only seen this now.
I know. There's so many years of my life that I could have been watching this and I wasn't, and for God knows what reason.
I'm floored. I'm floored by the fact that you've never seen it.
It's crazy.
When in the scene when he's getting mobbed by women and he goes, "Call me a cab," and the guy goes, "Okay, you're a cab."
Okay,
I had totally forgotten about that. It was so, and I was like, why are these jokes still so funny? I've seen this movie, I assure you, at least 20 times over the
Yes.
course of my life. But like, and yet every time they hit.
Still hilarious.
It's so funny.
I think the big moment was when Don crashes into Kathy's car and then like they finally settle down or whatever because she knows who he is, and he's like coming on to her and like her face acting of like looking to where his arm is and then slightly rolling the eyes to like understand like, okay, I know what's going on, and then like deciding what to say and stuff. It's just that whole car.
The whole car scene is so good.
is so funny.
It's so good. It's so good because her acting is perfect and the whole thing she's doing is amazing. But also seeing Gene Kelly like do the thing with his, I mean, are you not a little like, oh, but I mean, excuse me, sir, I'm interested in what you're purveying there.
He's
yes?
so attractive in this
He's
movie.
so handsome. He's
And
so charming.
And his smile is so genuine. Like anytime there's that moment where she pops out of the cake and they just cut to a reaction shot of him like smiling up at her. And I was like, my basement is flooded, girl. Like, oh, if this man
Okay.
is staring at me.
Yeah, I think we should actually backtrack a little bit though, to start with the actual red carpet that begins it, because the fact that it's basically a runway to start this movie.
Yes.
They're like, Olga is here and she is serving Hunty. Like the outfits, we get Rita Moreno right off the bat.
Right off the
I
bat.
don't know who plays Olga, but I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
and then Lena comes out in the white with the feathers. Oh my god, the outfits in this movie.
The costumes in this movie are incredible. So the costumer also did Gone with the Wind and said that this movie was harder to do specifically because people remembered seeing this movie. They remembered the late 20s. People in the 30s did not remember the Civil War.
Yeah.
So you can like play around with it a little bit. Whereas like this, it had to be like realistic, but also like so like taken to the nth degree because it's a movie musical.
And we were saying like it would be like if we were watching like a movie about the early 2000s right now, and it's like people are like, oh, I remember that. Oh, like it's that feeling or seeing that.
Yeah, so 1952 to 1927, which is 1927 is the only real time frame you can get on this movie other than March 24th, which is the luckiest day for Don. 1927 is when The Jazz Singer comes out, which is the first full movie with sound. And so in 2022, our 1927 is 1997, which is the year Princess Diana died.
Oh,
so, there you go.
You brought up The Jazz Singer, which means I have to briefly derail us. So we all know that The Jazz Singer is the first sound movie, right? I feel like we all know that because of Singing in the Rain, probably. Like the fact that they say it in this movie and this movie's so famous and like it's the real fact. Boys, does it seem weird to you that you've never watched The Jazz Singer?
No, because doesn't it have like major blackface in it?
Yeah, I was going to do a reveal of that to you, but apparently I'm not the only person who knows this. It is wild to me how we're all on a first name basis with that movie, but just America has just never asked the question of like, why do we all know what it is, but we've never seen it before? It's just like, we've just all decided we'll just not ask the question, why have we never watched The Jazz Singer? What could be in there that we wouldn't want to see?
Well, it's also Al Jolson is the main character, or the actor in the movie, and his like basically entire career was doing like blackface. Like the song Swanee. Yeah. Minstrelsy.
For sure. So, there you go, listeners. Now you know something.
Now you know.
How fortunate that, I mean, blackface had pretty much fallen out of fashion in the 50s. I don't really know what people like felt about it from an ethical stance, but it wasn't something people did a lot anymore.
Yeah.
But thank goodness that we just wholesale avoided that for this, because it would have fully sunk Singing in the Rain. I mean, it's like, it's so great that we just avoided all those things for this movie so that we could preserve it. Yeah.
The only thing I can think is in White Christmas, there's a song called Mandy in which the beginning is like, I want to see a minstrel show. And it's not great.
It's like, minstrel shows are the most fun thing. They're totally family friendly. Minstrel shows are my favorite kind of show. Da 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 da. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
There is a brief moment here when they're showing like different movies they're filming in the set right before Make 'Em Laugh, and that first one is like they were in like a jungle.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I forgot that. Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I'm glad that it wasn't what it kept moving. Obviously, so you saw that this is just one of many films that they're filming because it's it's silent film era, so they're just making them whatever at the same time. Doesn't matter. So I was like, okay, I'm glad that it was just like this blip. But I remember watching it. I was like, oh, forgot about her.
Now, I will say, I mean, part of how it avoids it is by having all white characters. So we're not saying great work, good job Singing in the Rain on that one, but yeah.
Also, the big slay at the top of this movie of not revealing Lena Lamont's voice.
Yeah,
they hold it for so long. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that everyone is so good in this.
Just foundations of like comedy in this film. It's a real. Just watch this movie. Masterclass.
Just turn off this podcast. Go watch Singing in the Rain. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
And here's the trailer for the next episode.
I feel like if we're talking about comedy, I feel like the only thing we can discuss
as the doctor, as
Molly is the doctor of theater and I am the doctor of commedia. We have to discuss the song "Make 'Em Laugh," which is Olympic level comedy. I mean, like if it's a sport, he just won the gold.
Adam and I tried to do, because while the scene was happening, I looked at Adam and I go, "Make 'em laugh, don't laugh challenge."
Because I was a child and I was laughing.
He was fully laughing at everything. And so we tried to just like stop and not laugh. And
you know what the best is?
Go ahead.
The best is the mannequin.
It's the
arm on his leg.
Absolutely.
And then the mannequin flies and then he flies up.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of you being able to have the experience of watching this for the first time. Like, you know what I mean? It's so good. And I can't imagine like having 2 days ago just watched all of that happen for the first time. That's amazing. It's just good. I don't have anything to say about it because it's perfect. There's nothing to say about it. It is a perfect number. It's amazing.
Here's what we have to say about it. He went to the hospital for 3 days after shooting this number.
No.
Gosh.
He had like destroyed his. Okay, first of all, Donald O'Connor was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yikes.
Wouldn't you if you had to keep up with this?
So, that could have been part of the reason. But
4 packs.
That's why Gene Kelly could yell at him. There was just a haze of smoke between both of them all the time.
So there
was filter it.
There was 2 things that was said. It said there was in the hospital for 3 days, and then it said he was on bed rest for 3 days. And I think what it really was is like, in order to get out of working, you had to be at the hospital. So he basically just checked himself in to be like, I can't go back there. This is terrible. That was the worst day of my life. I shot for like 9 hours straight. And it had been a whole routine that him and Gene had like thought up together because they had both done, or Donald O'Connor had like actually done vaudeville back in the day. So he just like kept showing things that he could do. And Gene was like, okay. And then turned it into a whole routine. He shot the sequence. Went to the hospital, came back, everyone's applauding. Grips are applauding. Everyone is like,
Grips are applauding.
Grips are applauding. And everyone's like, this is the best thing that's ever been put to film, literally. And Gene goes, would you like to do it again? And he goes, haha, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, let me know when, haha, like joking. And Gene goes, no, we lost the footage. So he had to shoot. This is not the first take. This what is in this movie is not the first take. The like film got messed up.
Oh my god.
So they lost it.
The Port Authority lost it.
The Port Authority at the Wiz lost it.
They lost it.
It's crazy. But we have to listen to a little bit of it. I don't even know what I'm playing the whole number.
Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My dad said be an actor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in lines for those old honky-tonk monkey shines. Or you could study Shakespeare and be quite elite, and you could charm the critics and have nothing to eat. Just slip on a banana peel, the world's at your feet. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh? My grandpa said go out and tell 'em a joke, but give it plenty of hope. Make 'em roar, make 'em scream. Take a fall, but a wall split a seam. You start off by pretending you're a dancer with grace. You wiggle till they're giggling all over the place. And then you get a great big custard pie in the face. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh.
But where do we go from comedy? So we have to round it out by saying. So I'm gonna bring up all these references to these songs these are inspirations of. So if you will indulge me, and you will click next to Make 'em Laugh. Now, Make 'em Laugh, it is an original song. But if you click on Be a Clown from the movie The Pirate from 1948, which stars Judy Garland, you'll hear it sounds very similar.
Be a clown, all the world loves a clown. Show 'em tricks, tell 'em jokes, and you'll hold stop the top folks. Dressed in huge baggy pants, and you'll ride the road to romance.
A butcher or a baker, ladies never embrace.
A barber for a beau would be a social disgrace. They're all a come to call if you can fall on your face. Be a clown, be a clown, be a clown.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same song with different lyrics. It's also just, wow, seeing Judy Garland dressed up as an actual vaudeville clown is a lot.
And Gene Kelly. Yeah.
That's Gene Kelly?
Yes.
I was trying
in
to
the
figure out
red
who the
wig.
guy was. Oh my gosh, hold on. I gotta watch a little bit more.
So, I think it's Irving Berlin or it may be Cole Porter. It's one of those classic people wrote
It's
Be
like
a
Cole
Clown.
Cole
It's like Cole
Porter
Porter?
yeah.
So he came to set allegedly. This is an alleged story. I don't know if I believe this is true, but he came to set and he heard them doing make 'em laugh, and he was like, "That sounds a lot like Be a Clown." And they're like, "Anyway, come over here and look at this thing." Who knows if this is true? But it's a great Hollywood story.
They did all of the costumes in Beautiful Girl just to distract Cole Porter from the fact that they were stealing the song. They were like, "Oh, but look at this gown.
But look at this
Oh my God, did you see this one?
But have you seen these pearls?
Because we did skip over Beautiful Girl, and we have to go back because I'm obsessed with that number.
Yeah.
Molly, is this out of all of the folliness numbers that we've seen so far?
I can't believe we've seen 3 in like
I know. It's been like everyone that we've seen. That was so weird in Carousel when they did a folly number in the middle. No, I mean this is tops. This is
tops, yeah.
Top tier, number 1 follies number of all time. I'm obsessed with just the chorus girls numbers, the like flapper, lavender, periwinkle. Just like the color of those costumes is like so beautiful. And so you think like, wow, I'm really being treated to like these women in these beautiful flapper gowns. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, this isn't the eye candy. This is the eye candy.
These aren't the girls. These are the girls.
These are the girls. And then they're like little magazine, like they're doing poses, like they're in a magazine
catalog, absolutely.
And the colors and the glamour and oh my God, it's so good. It is at this scene single-handedly shaped my understanding of femininity as a child. I feel it is so all-encompassing and it's so good. And I'm just picking different synonyms for amazing.
Well, and it's so good that this movie takes place in the late 20s because you get the 20s feel like the only time where you had different like versions of what women could wear, and it wasn't just all like the same silhouette. Like it was the same silhouette,
women are
and
only
then it was
allowed to
all
wear one thing now. It's such a bummer.
Well,
since the handmaid laws were passed,
it's all athleisure now. But like, even though the silhouette is obviously like very close to the body because we're not giving curves and swerves, we're giving plank. There is like, I don't know. They all have like different outfits. There's the one who's like in all plaid.
The tennis one.
There's the girl in the monkey fur.
The sleeves, just the long sleeves.
Oh, it's just every look is so good. And this is again not even a part of this movie. Like, and by that I mean the movie that they're filming. Like, it's just another movie that's happening on. It's like, hey, the lot.
See what we can do now that we can have music in our movies.
And it's just to reintroduce Kathy back into the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's so good.
And then it ends with a bride. Oh, come on.
It ends with a
you
bride.
can eat it up with a spoon.
The winter bride.
It's so good.
I am sure that we will link everyone to the image that I embedded into the Google Docs of all the outfits because I think we're going to reference it later. But y'all just click on this picture and just look at these outfits for, I don't know, a good afternoon.
5, 6, 12 hours, whatever you
Make
have
it your
time
background on your phone, honestly.
Right.
They have there's different things in the backdrops with them for the photo shoots. It's just perfect.
Oh yeah, the boat. There's a boat.
There's a
boat. Oh, it's so good. All their poses are stupid.
Stupid good. I assume you mean.
Good. Yeah. This is camp.
This is camp. Someone should have gone to the Met Gala in all of these outfits.
Just keep revealing the next one.
Reveal. Jada Essence Hall. It's nothing yet.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Wow. A 12 gown reveal.
Or it would have been fierce would be one guy, Billy Porter, I think in my mind, just comes in a super plain tux, but he hires 12 women to stand behind him that are in all of the different calendar girl outfits.
That's a big slay.
Yeah. And then they're like, where are their tickets? And he's like, this is my ensemble. This is my outfit.
This is my outfit.
These aren't guests. This is my outfit.
This is my outfit.
Anyway, I think women are just for decoration is what I'm trying to say.
Ornamentation. Going to the stage, ornamentation. So yeah. Where shall
Anything
we
else in
go from
comedy?
here?
We got to talk about the boring
Comedy.
ladder song that comes after Beautiful Girl.
So
This was an Adam. Adam fully bought in on this number.
is this All I Do Is Dream of You? Right?
Yeah.
So
Or You Were Meant for Me is what it says in the notes.
No,
Am I wrong?
all I do is dream of you is the Cake song.
oh right, yes, that's right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Cake
You Were Meant for Me is the
is the ladder song.
ladder
Do we need to go back to All I Do Is Dream of You?
We can just jump around. I mean, we can go in order if you want.
because we haven't really done.
They're your links, bud. You tell me.
Yeah.
They're just there for reference. I don't have a rhyme or reason for them. I just put the links in. We'll go to All I Do Is Dream of You.
Okay.
Because that's comedy. So All I Do Is Dream of You is the scene in which she pops out of the cake for the after premiere party for the film at the beginning that that we were at the premiere for, which was like the Three Musketeers, basically. And I do have to say they're so good about showing how big you had to be on silent films, like how broad you had to make everything so that it like reads, because you can't hear words, obviously. It's very animated in that way. But I just thought that. So All I Do Is Dream of You, they pop out and they sing the song. All the girls sing together. It's very cute. This song is from a movie called Sadie McKee in 1934, starring the one and only Joan Crawford.
Oh.
And it is, if you click the link, it's about maybe halfway through the sequence.
I know where it is because YouTube now does the like most
Oh,
replayed
most
thing,
replayed.
and if there's a big old spike in here.
All I do the whole day through is dream of you. With the dawn I still go on and dream of you. Your every thought, your everything, your every song I ever sing. Winter, summer, autumn, and spring.
And were there more than 24 hours a day, they'd be spent in sweet content, dreaming away. The skies are gray, the skies are blue, morning, noon, and night too. All I do the whole day through is dream of you.
You know what this is giving me? This is giving me Guys and Dolls, like Adelaide's Cabaret of like, in the original musical it's Bushel and a Peck, but it's like a song that they turned into like a almost burlesque cutesy like up-tempo number.
Well,
Yeah.
but then it kind of makes it acoustic and romantic and
It's a love
kind
song.
of subverts that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, I really thought was cool because I liked that they rearranged it and made it sound more 20s and gave it like a full instrumentation with the
Roaring.
roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Champagne's a poppin'.
Yes.
Boop, boop, boop.
It's a good visual bit for the podcast. Thanks for,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay, next. So he falls in love with her. It happens very quickly in this film, which is great.
Yeah, it's almost, it was like, so she was kind of caught in like, oh, she thinks she's high and mighty of like, oh, the real acting happens on the stage or whatever, but then she turns out she's a chorus girl or whatever. And then he teases her, but then like Lena basically makes her lose her job because she threw cake in her face or whatever. And like it's a big kind of like, it's like his big next to do is like try to find her so that he can try to get her job back, basically, because he felt really bad that she lost her job because it was like we had like a 2 weeks or a 3 week like time shift like after basically the premiere.
Well, we don't know because at the premiere they do that bit where they show
the talkie or a talkie,
and then you learn
yeah.
that Warner Brothers is about to release the jazz singer.
Like
and
it's
then
gonna flop. Whatever.
And then you have the scene. This is around Make 'Em Laugh, where you find out that it's come out and everybody loves it, but people are like, oh, but next week the box office is gonna tank and blah blah. It's a folly. And then like right after that is when you have the studio head come into their shoot to be like, cut the
Stop
picture.
this movie.
We're doing sound. I've bought the equipment. We're putting it in plants, and that's how we're doing it.
I think that was the part that I was really surprised with the comedy and like specifically with the writing was that they do poke fun at that idea, that transition from like hastily trying to adapt to talking pictures, and like the microphone obviously is a good like bit of like, you know,
Pierre.
Yes. Yes. Like it's a good bit of physical comedy, but I didn't expect that they were also going to poke fun at like the actual writing, that like even Don Lockwood was like, I don't want to say all these words. Let me just say like, I love you, I love you, I love you. But then actually being able to hear that also was a part of why people didn't like their movie.
Yes.
Because it was like, this is bad writing.
His movie's very smart because I like that it's not just she's bad.
Yes.
They're both
Yeah.
like not good. He's like not really an actor.
Yeah.
And that's how he like humbles himself.
Yeah.
I really like that that's the aspect, because it's so easy to just be like, well, she just can't talk right, so she sounds nuts.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we can hear her heartbeat. Oh, like the you can hear like things falling in the background. Like it's the
pearls,
studio was not ready.
The pearls.
The pearls, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of good comedy with that. And I do think this movie is like, I think it works specifically probably around that time frame for anybody that was like alive during the it's like very the same way that if I watched a movie about 1997, like I'd be like very nostalgic about it, or like 2005 or whatever, because I lived through it. And I do think it's like very nostalgia bait in that way, but I also think the other thing that people like about it, especially in a pre-internet era where you can just find information before the information age, is that like there's so many little throwaway nods to how movie making works and like stuff like that. And for the general public who in 1952 understood the concept of how a movie is made, but all these little sequences where they like walk through the studio and they walk by the three movies being filmed that are nothing to do with each other, but you could do it all in one soundstage because it was a silent picture, or just like little things like that, like the whole sequence of like getting the audio, like all that I think is so fun to learn just as like a fun information thing that we don't have to do anymore. And isn't this funny? It's good comedy and it's like good knowledge. Like it's entertainment.
It feels a little bit like if somebody made a movie now that was set in 1997 and they gave them like giant cell phones or something where we could all like laugh at like, oh, wasn't that funny how like bad we were at technology, or like how clunky the technology was.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're all so much more sophisticated or whatever.
Yeah.
I do want to, on the topic of the technology and stuff, our old friend Raymond Knapp is back. Everyone.
Nap! Bap.
Knapp is back. And Knapp Attack. And he has actually a whole chapter in the American Musical and the Formation of Personal Identity on movie musicals specifically, but I hadn't brought it out yet because one of the central ones is Singing in the Rain. So I was waiting for this episode to read it. So, interestingly, there was a film in 1929 called Broadway Melody, whose title song is used as the framework for Broadway Ballet. And the reason that Broadway Melody is famous is because it was pivotal in pioneering the technique of lip syncing musical numbers. I'm quoting, by the way, directly from Knapp here. Originally conceived as a way out of the cumbersome procedures then being used for filming with sound. Prior to that film, camera movement had been restricted so as not to interfere with simultaneously recording sound, which resulted in very static visual dimension. By recording the musical numbers first and then filming back to what became known as playback, filmmakers freed themselves to pursue more imaginative camera manipulations, which quickly became an indisputable component of what he calls musical enhanced reality mode, which is what he refers to as when a film kind of like shifts into this like heightened reality to acknowledge we're in a musical. So like Chicago has like those really clear shifts and stuff. And I'm into the fact that now we have the phrase merm that we can refer to. But I also wanted to read this because my blood feud with Tom Hooper continues. I just wanted to point out to him that we came up with this technology in 1929 and it was available to you the entire time that you were filming both Les Mis and Cats. And so it's something just to consider, Tom, for next time.
There's not going to be a next time.
It's not going to be a next time, unfortunately.
The fact that, Broadway Melody, what a classic, and maybe learn from their innovations is just it's just a suggestion that I had.
Speaking of the Broadway Melody of 1929, the song "You Were Meant for Me," which takes place when they profess their love for each other.
To bring us back to the boring ladder scene, all right.
Which actually, I was saying that this love sequence happens early in the film, and by that I mean in a lot of musicals it's either they take a really long time to end up together,
yeah,
or they get together really early and then they spend a lot of time where she's mad at him or something. Boy gets girl, boy loses girl.
Yeah.
But this movie is mostly they're together the whole time.
Yeah.
There's I think maybe 30 minutes in is when
the complication really just adds stakes to the very last moment.
Yes,
but it's not it's not a will he, will she, won't she.
You do not believe for 1 second that they are not going to end up together.
Yeah.
Because you're watching a musical.
Yeah.
So it is kind of nice that that kind of checks off and they're there you go, there's your romance.
Yeah.
Now let's see them dance.
But anyway, You Were Meant for Me. Here's a little bit of it from the film.
Life was a song. You came along. I've laid awake the whole night through. If I but dared to think you cared, this is what I'd say to you. You were meant for me, and I was meant for you. Nature patterned you, and when she was done, you were all the sweet things rolled up in one. You're like a plaintive melody that never lets me be.
They really don't do vibrato like this anymore.
No, this is a lost art. There is something so compelling, though, and charming about that 1930s vibrato, and also the quality of film that's crackling so loudly in the background. What is it about that? It makes you nostalgic for a time that you absolutely did not live through.
We're not part of.
I think it's
ASMR.
I think there is sometimes the thing. I remember our Tony winning sound professor in college, Mikhail Fiskal, once saying in class that some people get buy records and listen to records because of the imperfections that records have, make it seem more organic. And there is that human
music
element.
made on time, in real time.
Yes.
It's creating the music right now. Yeah.
I think that is probably a part of it too. But it's a good song. I like it in the movie. I'm a sucker for a love song.
Listen, if you are just a singing chorus girl extra, I'm on one day in the call sheet. And the Gene Kelly of the movie you're working on was like, hey, let me walk you through this. Let me show you why I think you're neat. And walks you into an empty studio of this beautiful, beautiful whatever, and just serenades you. I'd be like, okay, yeah.
I think the real problem with this number is that
you don't believe in love.
Yeah, well, one, that. But two, the ballet part of the ballet sequence, which is a callback to this moment where they dance this very like slow ballet after we've had the most exciting number in the musical, and then it's like now we got to stop for like 10 minutes, it feels like, for these two to do some ballet together. I think as a kid especially, that part was so boring to me. And now this number just becomes a preview of, hey, remember the boring part's gonna happen later. So I just can't get past that. Like my kid brain is like, oh, this is the kissy thing where like what like I just didn't care about it when I first watched it.
And I feel like this number is referenced in La La Land, but I feel like when we watched La La Land down the road, like it just feels so familiar, like this exact like picture of like the ladder serenading in an empty studio. I'm like, I'm sure this has been referenced in another movie, and I think it's La La Land, but I think
you're just thinking of old Our Town.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I see a ladder.
She's frying the bacon, RJ. I don't know.
There's the stage manager.
Yeah. It's a framing. It's called meta theater. I'm sure all really new for you, but
it's called Merm.
It's called Merm. Yeah. The bacon is called Merm. It's very layered. Yeah.
So we move on from that. And we head to Moses Moses, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that's right.
Because now they're coming
is a
up.
Song that I have to say is the most song for song's sake. Like it's just they were like
it's giving choreography in White Christmas.
How do we fit this song in here? And they're like, well, I guess it can be they're at a dialect coach and they're doing tongue twisters, and that's the song, and it's great. And it's very funny.
They're caught up in the spirit.
They're caught in the spirit. They feel the spirit.
Yeah.
I really feel like when I, as a kid, figured out how to sing all the lyrics to this song, I thought like I am the smartest kid in the world because I can sing Moses Supposes.
It's so good.
It's the same feeling of when I learned they both reached for the gun, like how many times they say the gun at the end specifically. It's like, see, I understand the craft.
Yeah. It's getting your mouth around erroneously. That really like that. That's when you know you're a big kid now because you can say erroneously.
I can get my mouth around a lot of things.
All right.
But I also really like. So we have this like double. There's countered sequence where
classic Gene,
the Moses Supposes is part of the second half, but the first half is Lena at her dialect coach, and it's just like not going well at all because she's like rounded vowels and she can't do it, obviously.
I can't stand it.
I can't stand it.
Which is so good. It's very funny. The commitment to the comedy in this film is genius.
Absolutely.
But I like also that I found this out, that the woman who plays obviously the woman
her coach?
Yes, Jean, who played Lena, she was like known for not having this voice. She was known for having like a really nice
She's known for having the voice that they wanted her to have in the movie.
And the woman who plays the dialect coach was actually known for, she usually played like these character roles of these like kind of like poor loud-mouthed women who just like yell, and so like it's very funny that they almost kind of like both have have a role in it.
I like doing inside jokes like that where the audience is part of that inside joke and like they are into it, and they're like,
so it would be like, I'm trying to think of a good, so I'm imagining Rebel Wilson plays the dialect coach.
Yeah,
sure.
And I'm trying to think of somebody who's like
Melissa
young,
McCarthy
but also...
plays the dialect coach.
Who's somebody that's like younger but has a very like Damish and speaks very properly?
I was gonna do like a Saoirse or like a Florence, but they also have done like more teeny, like their age. But
we just don't have voices like this anymore.
Yeah.
We as like a society, because of the advent of television, have like
Jennifer Tilly,
or like a like Kate Blanchett. She's not young, but like I was trying to think of someone that wasn't Judi Dench.
Gorgeous young woman, Kate Blanchett.
My issue is Judi Dench. I didn't want to pull her, but like
like
a Kate Blanchett, and like also I feel like has this very like actress kind of voice of like she's always like kind of resonates down here, and she's always like using really good words in her interviews and like that kind of thing.
Or like literally like a Tilda Swinton. If Tilda Swinton all of a sudden did like this.
Oh my God.
It's if Kathleen Turner literally turned in this performance, everyone would literally be like, give her an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
It's the thing that gay men do every year where like one supporting actress woman turns in a role where they're like, good, obviously,
but it's like unhinged.
But it's not normally what they do, or it's unhinged in some way, and they're all just like fighting on Twitter about how she should have every award known to man.
Yeah, the Laura Dern
the Laura Dern
segment of the
Dern
Oscars.
Of
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to say that can't stand it, and Pierre, you shouldn't have come, are two things that I did a lot as a kid because we would watch this movie so many times. And I know I already said that, but I do want to fill in that when I texted my mom that I was watching this, she said, can I call you because I have to talk to you about this movie right now. And she wanted to say that my grandparents sent us Singing in the Rain and Sound of Music on VHS tapes when my siblings were toddlers, and that apparently the two of them got sick like right after these movies got done, and so these became our like sick time movies. And she said particularly Sound of Music was good for that because it was so long that it would like really kill a whole day of you being sick, but also that I didn't quite remember that, but apparently these were sort of like our comfort I'm not feeling good movies too.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love that. So they go to the preview. It's not a premiere, it's a preview. And this is just like a trial of what the movie is like with sound, and it doesn't go well. Except Lena thinks it was great, which is very funny. I thought it was good. And
I love her in that moment. I'm like, you know what? Lena just has a good attitude, and everybody else needs to get on board.
Yeah. And they leave defeated. Don is like, there's a great joke. I'm so sorry to bring this up now because we are probably an hour away from this joke happening. But at the beginning of the movie, he makes a joke where he's like, "What's your name? Don, but you can call me Donald." And that's really funny. That's really funny.
Why is that funny?
Because it's normally Donald, but you can call me Don. And so to switch it to be like, my nickname is Don, but you can call me Donald. That's very funny. And then the guy says, "Oh, wise guy, huh?" Anyway, I just thought of that. So,
as a doctorate of comedy, he really...
sorry, I'm behind on my comedy coursework. So
so
they go
he
back.
fixes up some bologna sandwiches and milk to really help settle in the stomach.
Nothing helps
on a terrible movie night,
like
preview.
a bologna sandwich and milk. And they decide that it's going to be a musical. They're going to turn the whole thing into a musical, and then. This is another great example of like, how do we get our way into the song? And they're like, well, what a day. It's March 23rd. This is the luckiest day of my life. And he's like, no, it's not. It's 1:30 in the morning. So it's March 24th. Good morning. Good morning. It's great. And the song hits.
It slaps so hard.
It's so good. It reminds me of the Trolley song in the way that I'm like, oh, this is just a jam. And do you know why the song reminds me of the Trolley song? Because if you click the link,
oh my goodness,
it was originally sung in Babes in Arms.
Lip kinking. What am I trying to say?
Lip syncing? Link?
Lip syncing, but also
Link? Interlink?
Link clicking.
Link clicking
so
and lip
much
syncing.
Link clink.
Oh no! It's the COVID brain.
We should do. Oh no! This is it. Downhill. Long COVID.
We're obviously not laughing about long COVID. To be clear,
I am. I have COVID. I can laugh about it. Link clicking should be a tongue twister that we should do before we do performances. Okay.
It's gonna be our Moses Opposes number for our version of this
clicking, link clicking, link clicking. To sit in solemn silence on a dark dock in a children prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shot.
So this song
on a big black block
is from Babes in Arms, which stars Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney.
Star of our research today, Judy Garland.
Good morning. We've danced the whole night through. Good morning to you. Good morning late to stay up late. Good morning to you. When bands get to play, stars shine bright.
Now the milkman's on his way. It's too late to say goodnight. So good morning. Sunbeams will soon smile through. Good morning
To you and you and you and you. Good morning. Good morning. We've gabbed the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Nothing could be grander than to be in Louisiana
In the morning. In the morning, it's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's crazy how many movies they had together.
Yeah.
I think they had like 12 films together. I mean, again, this is when we're just like, you just go from movie to movie to movie and you don't have breaks. And she's on uppers and downers. And it's not going well for poor Judy. But it's crazy.
I think this is the first time I'm seeing a young Mickey Rooney.
He looks like Rupert Grint.
Yeah, he looks like a child. Like
They're both supposed to be like 14. I think they probably are both 14.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, isn't that what Mickey Rooney was famous for, though? Was for having a really young face?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Mickey Rooney.
Well, is there anything you want to tell us about this Garland version?
No, it's great.
Okay.
We're
You
moving
just
on.
saw how many you could get Garland versions of.
That's where they all were. I didn't try to get them. She just was. She was the MGM girl. So since
true.
they were in house, that's why all these are.
Yeah, I love the song. I think that March 24th should become Singing in the Rain Day. I feel like it's a shame that it hasn't, the way that like April 25th with Miss Congeniality and
Right.
what is it for Mean Girls, May 3rd or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, Mean Girls fandom. Don't cancel me.
Or May the 4th for Star
Sure,
Wars.
different one. Well, that's kind of a different reasoning. Though. I just mean like there are certain
it's quoted,
dates that are just because they're they
In the
say the
film.
date in the movie.
Yeah.
So I just think that should be what it is, and I love that the lightly queer coded character is the one who invents lip syncing in this scene.
Cosmo. We're talking about Cosmo.
Cosmo, yeah.
He's definitely gay.
Okay, I was like, it's like there's always like the sidekick who's like kind of queer coded, and I feel like he's not as heavily queer coded as some movies of this era
Sure.
with that type of character, but yeah, he's gay, right?
He's fun. At the very least, you know what he is? A good time gal.
Oh, for sure.
But I was like, oh, we're giving queer best friend. But they also like they do their friendship is the vaudeville 1 and 2, like the straight man, funny man. Even though Gene Kelly does obviously a bunch of comedy in this movie as well, he is more the straight man, whereas the other buffoon is flailing around, making faces.
There was a moment when they were doing the montage of their vaudeville acts that I looked at Adam and went, I feel like we missed an opportunity if we really tried hard enough in college to really establish.
We could have brought back vaudeville.
We could have brought back vaudeville. You and I as a strong comedy duo.
You would have revived the genre single-handedly.
Yeah. Or it made a really good case for it because it's like, that's kind of fun to be like vaudeville duos back in the day were very like coded as like, because, two pals. But hey, here's the plus. They're actually gay and are together. I don't know. There's something there.
I think you could still do it.
What's stopping us?
Yeah.
You know who's the closest to doing current vaudeville right now?
Who?
Cirque du Soleil. Clowns.
Actual clowns.
Montreal. The Québécois. And their bizarre form of comedy.
I thought you were going to make a joke there, but that's just true.
Like, I guess, yeah.
That's just actually...
They are classically trained clowns, so they are close to vaudeville.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna noodle on this. Maybe I'll write something about like a gay vaudeville duo trying to revive.
I hope you don't like your career, Adam, because it's changing right now. You're gonna be doing something else for the next 20 years.
Hey, Toots, why don't pick up tap dance? Because we're about.
Do you think you could learn the violin well enough that you could play one that someone else was holding?
Listen, our listeners would pay to see us try to do that.
I would pay to see anyone do that. Are you kidding me? It's amazing.
Our listeners would pay to see us. They've never seen us before.
Famously. We're just voices in the wind.
We have a face for radio.
We collectively have one face.
One face.
And
The
it's
royal
for
we
radio.
has a face for radio.
But I think what I love about the Good Morning sequence is the full, like, when they go from the kitchen to the living room, and it's like you clearly see that, like, that's a set of, like, the doorway. Like, it's clearly like we are just a camera moving from room to room. I don't know. It's just, and then that's definitely like referenced in like everything.
So Singin' in the Rain is the next song that we get in this movie. And
An hour 45 in, we're finally at the titular song.
it's the titular song. Beanie, poor Beanie. And
It's September now, like when people are listening to this, so we are in full.
I know, months ago.
Yeah.
There have been 12 funny girls since then.
Guys, how long did Leah Michelle last? How long did it go?
Did someone read her?
Send us through the
her
ether.
lines?
Tell us how long Leah Michelle will last.
So, Singin' in the Rain is the song that was originally supposed to be all three of them sang together as they like left. They were supposed to, okay, so it was originally going to be they leave, they go to a diner. In the diner, they figure out what the thing is going to be. They leave the diner, they're all excited, and they sing Singin' in the Rain.
Okay.
Gene Kelly was like, give me a solo.
Mhm.
And I think it would make more sense this way that he's like so smitten with love because she also just came up with this idea to turn it into a musical. She
Yes.
and Cosmo.
Mhm.
And they Cosmo and Wanda
Sure.
has to be a reference. Cosmo. How many Cosmos are there?
Why would it have to be a reference? There's not a Wanda in this
Not
movie.
enough for Sex in the City. Anyway, I'm just gonna cut all that. So
Adam's just high on references. Like, oh, it's got to be.
everything's a reference.
Did you
Everything's
know
a
that
reference.
sometimes people have the same name?
It is crazy. Here's what I
His
will say
name's
about
Don
references.
Donald Trump. Okay. Do you guys see where I'm going with this?
This
It
was
is-
all. The presidency was a reference to Singing in the Rain this entire time.
Somebody call Q. We figured it out.
Oh my god.
Adam is fully ignoring us.
No, he
He's
remembered.
not interested in our
he remembered
antics.
another link. For your link clinking in a little bit.
See, it's hard to say. I'm not crazy. It is not long COVID. Let's hope, man.
Clink 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 clinking.
So, all I was going to say was that I think it's crazy to watch this after having seen so many things in pop culture that reference Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
And now, like,
Yeah.
getting those references, even, like, it's just, it's because it's so ubiquitous in culture. Anyway.
That's
so,
how I feel about almost everything that was made between 1980 and like 1995 that I realized that I only knew because The Simpsons parodied it. And then later I would actually watch the thing and be like, oh, that's why there was that joke in The Simpsons. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's very that. So Singin' in the Rain, it's originally from the Hollywood Review of 1929, not to be confused with the Broadway Melody of 1929.
And we mean review REVUE. They are
No.
not reviewing Hollywood.
Right.
It
The
is a
French-
review.
It is not the publication.
Right. And in it, this is the last song in the Hollywood Review of 1929, and it is all of the stars of MGM singing in the rain in front of Noah's Ark.
I did think it was, I thought it was the Titanic for a second. Just the image of people with a huge boat behind them. That's where my brain goes. But
Oh my god.
so they're not on the ark though. So
No.
this isn't going to be a good ending for them.
This is also the time when, because of the studio system, I don't know if you've ever noticed how Paramount, when the logo starts, the stars come in over the mountain. So the stars reference the number of stars they had in their studio. So like it changed depending on how many stars they had contracted to them at the time. I don't know if you knew that.
So that an official legal category of star where they could like definitively say this is the number of stars that we have?
There was probably contractually, there were like, you are a titular star of, if you started a film, if you headlined a film, if your name was over the title, probably.
Yeah, I know that would be interesting to know, like what would make you like get to that category, right? Yeah. Interesting.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. And the sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a happy...
The movie that they had originally shot in silent and they were going to turn into audio is like Marie Antoinette. And then they come up with this idea for a musical. And the plot of the musical makes no sense. Allegedly, it's going to be, the plot is that the guy comes to New York and is like an actor, and then backstage gets hit on the head by a sandbag, blacks out, and then dreams the silent picture, basically. Right?
But you missed that he was reading A Tale of Two Cities.
Right. He's reading A Tale of Two Cities.
That's the linchpin.
Which obviously makes, again, no sense. Because why? That's not A Tale of Two Cities, what they're doing.
Well, it's French Revolution.
Is A Tale of Two Cities about the French Revolution?
Have you never read Tale of Two Cities, Adam?
No, I have things to do, Molly. I have a life to lead. You know what? I also haven't read Moby Dick.
Wait, I thought the Tale of Two Cities was Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Right.
We love Twin Cities references, but yes, A Tale of Two Cities is set during the French Revolution.
It was the best of winter. It was the coldest of winter.
The best of times. It was the worst of times. That's talking about the guillotine. And you know that
the best of times and the worst of times is talking about the guillotine.
I'm saying the part that was the worst was the guillotine parts, and the best of times was the political upheaval, like more equality, whatever,
sure.
Right? So you know the like.
Oh, I had no idea.
You know the idea that like that there's a guy who's in love with a woman and he looks really similar to.
I don't know any of the plot of.
You don't know anything about Tale of Two Cities.
I know that it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. That is all I know.
A central
and I know
plot
it's written by
point
Charles Dickens.
Is that there is a central young woman. I want to say her name is Lucy, but I'm not totally sure where that's coming from.
I think it's Lena Lamont.
Her name's Lena Lamont, and she's in love with a guy. And there's a different guy who's in love with her, but she does not return his affections. But he looks remarkably similar to the guy that she's in love with. The guy she's in love with ends up being imprisoned in the Bastille, and then the guy who loves her agrees to take his place, and he is guillotined in the place of her lover. And that's like the big tragic.
Okay, that is familiar now. Yes, okay, that.
I had never. But thank you for Spark Notes.
Yeah, Charles Dickens is a pretty good writer. I'd say you should maybe check him out.
I think if I was going to check out any historical British authors, I would start with maybe Austen. That's my guess. Or the Brontes. Were the Brontes American? No, they were British, right?
I genuinely would recommend A Christmas Carol, but I watch various versions of the play every single year, so I've got a big old baseline for the plot. I'm recording on a pile of books, and the top one is my copy of A Christmas Carol that I bought at Shakespeare & Co. in Paris.
Big sleigh of a store. You want to talk bookstore sleigh? It's that one.
I read Tale of Two Cities in high school, so it wasn't something that I just chose to read.
I read Christmas Carol in middle school, I think. Yeah. I think in like 8th grade we read A Christmas Carol.
Is there a musical adaptation of Christmas Carol? Does Muppets Christmas Carol have multiple songs? Or is it just
there's like tons of different versions of Christmas Carol, so there's, I'm sure, more than one musical version of it.
Great. Add that to the list. Write that down. Anyway.
So Singing in the Rain.
So it doesn't matter. That's the plot of the movie that they're now making. So they have to film this whole sequence of like
The
him,
Broadway
the
part.
Broadway part of him going to Broadway. And then he's like pitching it, and then you see he's like, it would look something like this, and then you
Fade in.
go into the dream of what it'll look like, and it's like 10 minutes long, maybe
probably.
12. And it starts with he like gets to New York, and then he gets hired, and then he
2
goes.
books, 2 bags, 1
One
me.
buck.
Gotta dance.
And then he
This
goes.
is- Genuinely, I think this is a better version of that Annie song, just so you know.
Gotta dance, ga. It's a horrible ballad.
Vowel.
And
I can't stand it.
I can't stand it. And this is the most unhinged podcast we've done. I feel like I don't know what I'm saying at this point anymore. We all have long COVID.
This is not the most unhinged one we've done. I feel like there were definitely worse ones.
Well, I was just listening to one where you were like, you were in a Zoom literally all day. I can't remember what it was, but it was after your first, like when you're doing this, like the thing that you were doing up until 8:30. It was the first time you had to do that.
Yeah.
You just like were laughing the entire episode.
I want to say that was Mamma Mia.
Well, we know I have to pitch for that one.
She was beaten down. There was nothing left.
But anyway. So, and then
Gotta
he goes to the casino.
The full Guys and Dolls moment.
And he
where-
sees Sid Charisse.
This
And-
leg.
And
This
he sees a leg. He sees the leg.
The leg. The only leg that has ever mattered.
That has
is
ever
this
legged.
leg.
Legs? Like the pantyhose legs? Legs? L apostrophe E G G.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Legs?
It's just not funny, so I'm not laughing at it.
Legs, Molly, legs.
Molly doesn't support hoes.
I don't.
Molly's
support women,
anti-sex
so-
work.
Oh my god.
So anyway, and then he dances with her. She goes off with her mafia guy.
Mhm.
It's so weird to describe this because it actually has no bearing on this film whatsoever.
But it's perfect.
It's incredible. And you know I love a dream ballet. You know it's a part
You're
of
on
who I
record.
am.
You're on
Yeah.
record. You literally said it. It will turn it around for you.
I would say this might be the first time it turned it the other direction for me. In that it was a little too long.
And which part got too long?
The ballet
The
part.
ballet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
will
she's
say-
so good. The scarf?
The best performance by a scarf, I'm shocked, was not nominated.
We'll save
by
it for the
anything
awards
else.
at the end of the
that's
year,
true.
RJ.
We'll save
Best
it for the Showgay Awards. But my God, the work of this scarf, and I'm assuming the 12 fans right behind the camera to make this scarf fly fully upright. The entire time I was like, this is truly amazing.
I feel like the fact that I get bored in the ballet part of it is why I don't like dream ballets. That my brain formed as like dream ballets always go a little too long and they get a little too boring, even though the beginning of this sequence is the best thing I've ever seen on film.
It's incredible.
I do want a goal for Molly to like unlearn that, and when that impulse happens, your new impulse will be like, oh, I'm sure Adam is gasping right now at this exact.
That's what. Yeah.
part.
When I start to struggle in a dream ballet, I'm gonna try
You're
to picture Adam's ecstasy.
fully like, oh God.
I would say I like the Dream Ballet a lot, and I think it's beautiful. But because it is not connected to anything in the plot,
Yes.
that is why I don't have anything to latch onto story-wise.
It's not giving DeMille where it's like, I am seeing
the plot
the
again
plot again,
in a ballet.
trying to hash out the pain and the emotion.
You can like a little bit argue we are, because we did start with a montage of how Don got famous, which was a different story, but like it started in a similar way. You could say that Sid Charisse has something in common with Lena, although he doesn't like Lena. So it's really that middle part that doesn't really, the green dress part doesn't really have a corollary. But then the ballet is like very much a one-to-one of the scene of him falling in love with Kathy. So there's like elements that are parallel, but it's very much not.
I think what's interesting is like they're comparing the Broadway New York with LA Hollywood business of making movies, because I feel like famously that's always been like oil and water of like we're were better than the other one. And so it's kind of funny for them to be like, Gene Kelly trying to like tell the same story through both.
Well, but it has to be this way, because if you're really believing that the world is 1920 whatever and we're just transitioning to audio, who are you going to go with if you have to get music for your song, like songs? You're going to go to Broadway, you're going to go to Tin Pan Alley, and you're going to go get like Broadway composers to come make stuff. So that, and
you're going to get Cole Porter, and then you got to distract him with dresses so he doesn't notice his stolen stuff.
And also, you have to, hold on. It just flew away. Like the scarf in the wind. It just flew right away.
Tin Pan Alley, 20s.
Yes. Oh, you're going to call things, you're going to reference Broadway because your viewer or your audience will know.
That's what they're looking for.
It's music. There's music in it. Sound is a new thing. So obviously, this is so exciting that I'm going to get to see something that has music in it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Again, incredible, has nothing to do with the plot. We come back out of it and we move basically to the end of the movie. And it's a smash. Everyone loves it at the premiere. It's incredible. It goes over like hotcakes. And Lena has double-crossed and planned that she is going to continue being the star and that Kathy is going to have to, per her contract, be her speaking voice forever, because it worked out so well. But she has the fall of hubris, and she goes to give her speech in front of the audience to thank them for coming, and they're like, sing a song. So
what's this weird voice you're doing? Stop.
Yeah,
sing a song instead.
And then they have Kathy stand behind the curtain behind her and actually sing, and then they lift the curtain and she's actually singing. Lena is
fallen from grace.
Mm-hmm.
She's much to her chagrin, she has fallen from grace. And Kathy is now the leading lady. And then we end with a song called You Are My Lucky Star, which did have a reference, but it sounded so much not like this version and it wasn't like a great quality video that I was like, meh. I didn't
Gotcha.
it, but
I will say that the other place where this movie falls down for me is this very end where we end in front of a billboard for Singing in the Rain, and I hate it when a piece of media ends or includes another piece of media with the same name as the piece of media that we're watching, and then you're like, wait, so is it this movie? Like they
how
made
often
this
does
movie?
this happen?
Like,
That you have
it
an
happens all the time. This has happened to me before, where I reference this and people are like, "You're so crazy. What are you talking about?" The really famous example is The Hobbit. That's like what invented the thing.
Sure.
I don't know. Now I'm going to give you examples that aren't super common, but like there's a book called Commonwealth where it's like the book is called Commonwealth, and then it's like about a woman writing a book that's called Commonwealth. I feel like there are other famous examples. Listeners, please write in and back me up that there are other times where.
But this is not a trope that you like seeing. You don't like.
It's a trope that I don't like seeing, because then I have to be like, okay, so like, is it this movie then that they make, or is it a different movie that they make? And if it is this movie that they make, then like, how do they get the shot of them in front of the billboard for the movie? Like, it's too much. I don't like it.
It's too meta.
It breaks the merms for you.
It doesn't just break the fourth wall. It breaks the fourth dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not enough merms, and it's too much merms, and that's how I feel about it.
I have nothing more to say about this other than this is a 2 thumbs up. This is a 6 thumbs up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I assume that we're both putting I think it would actually technically be a 3 thumbs up, right? Because it was the 2 of their.
Oh yeah, if they both
2 reviewers.
Thumbs up, yeah.
3 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up.
This hot off the presses, Singing in the Rain, a good movie.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 100% score. Incredible. The only review that I could find that was like available to access, basically, mostly because all of the other links are like dead, is The Hollywood Reporter from 1952. This is one of the paragraphs in their review. The production numbers also staged by Kelly and Donan are spectacular, although possibly overlong, but even here is the same kidding quality that makes the film so delightful. Particularly impressive are Kelly's Broadway melody routine, beautifully danced with Sid Charisse, and the Beautiful Girls number, a colorful and amusing satire of the old times style show. And for sheer joy, there is the riotous Make 'em Laugh song and dance interlude by Donald O'Connor, in which the likable young performer almost slays himself and the audience with his nimble footwork. The only complaint about O'Connor is that the more you see of him, the more you want. Kelly also pulls the showstopper with the title song number, his hoofing ranging from the graceful to the spectacular. Great.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert for the Chicago Sun-Times in 1999, as like a retrospective, wrote this about the film. He said, "The magic of Singin' in the Rain lives on, but the Hollywood musical didn't learn from its example. Instead of original made-for-the-movies musicals like this one, and An American in Paris and The Bandwagon, Hollywood started recycling pre-sold Broadway hits. That didn't work because Broadway was aiming for an older audience. Many of its hits were showcases for ageless female legends. Most of the good modern musicals have drawn directly from new music, as A Hard Day's Night, Saturday Night Fever, and Pink Floyd The Wall did. Meanwhile, Singin' in the Rain remains one of the few movies to live up to its advertising. What a glorious feeling," the poster said. It was the simple truth.
Yeah, when I think of good modern musicals, I always pull A Hard Day's Night, Saturday Night Fever, and Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really strong examples of the genre. So
I agree. You're right.
And three to put on our list now.
Yeah,
so
I was just going to say, I think I should open up the planning doc.
But on Letterboxd, Liam F. gave it 5 stars and said, I'm going to spoil you, everybody gave it 5 stars. It never ceases to amaze me that people actually had the audacity to make any more films after this. Dylan Galula gave it 5 stars and said, "Dancing is the most superior art form. I thought about all of them. It's dancing, and then acting is the lowest." And then Fran Hepfner gave 5 stars and said, "Very tough game of fuck, marry, kill." Maybe that's the final closer.
And is it the main trio?
Yeah, I think so.
It has to be.
Okay.
So first I'll say for my MVP, even though I don't like his behavior off screen, I think it's Gene Kelly, because he's great. Obviously, that's obvious. The direction is great. The choreography is incredible, and the pace of the movie is so good. Obviously, I know that there were 2 directors, so who knows exactly how much sway one had over what aspect of the film, but it's so good because of that, and that's a big part of it. So I would say mine is Gene Kelly.
Mine is Gene Hagen, for sure. That performance is amazing. I've already said how I quoted a lot, and it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved her also. Like, it's like annoying and like, it's not like a full antagonist, really. Like,
she rides the line perfectly of like annoying, villainous, but also kind of endearing, like whatever. I would kill to play this role.
Yeah, it's such a good role.
Honestly, the screenplay does so much work in this movie, which is crazy too. I thought about giving it to the 2 of them. They won the Writers Guild award for the screenplay for this movie, but
I was also gonna pick Gene Hagen, but in the interest of picking someone else, I'll pick Debbie Reynolds as Kathy. Just because she is so charming in the beginning, that like the fact that she like fully pulls you in to kind of like have her as someone that goes toe to toe with Gene Kelly, I think tells something, and I think kind of like is enduring to her presence in the entire movie, that like you are completely sold that
she is a star.
Yes. Yeah. That she is someone that you should be looking to like this entire movie, and she's so charming, she's so good.
I do feel like, though, we can't just like let Donald O'Connor just like not get mentioned. So he's
go to the hospital.
Perfect. He's so good.
He is so good. Yes, immensely talented and so perfect.
Yeah.
All right. F, marry, kill. Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds, Donald O'Connor.
I would marry
Debbie Reynolds.
I would.
This is really weird that you 2 picked the one woman to marry.
It's the whole. It's the gay man idolization of women. So I would.
Of women.
Yeah. I would. I I might throw a curveball here. I would pick Donald O'Connor as my fuck.
Wow. Okay.
And
Why is that?
Just a good time gal. You know, it would be so fun, unforgettable. Even if it's just one night, and we both end up in the hospital. You know, it's fun. And I think I'll do everyone a service and kill Gene Kelly.
Jesus.
I will do it in honor in honor of all the you know, the accolades and the work that he's done to progress dance into, you know, into mainstream. But I'll do it.
Well, okay. I want to change my answer because I was also going to say the exact same thing.
Adam.
So I will change my answer. But I feel like I can't say I'm going to kill Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, I think that's not fair for us to.
That's not fair to women.
You can do whatever you want.
That's not fair to women, Molly.
You think
haven't women suffered enough, Molly?
You think after the carousel episode, my issue is going to be you decided to kill Debbie Reynolds in this game?
Her issue was you making her watch Carousel.
I killed her and it felt like a kiss.
No. Now we have a problem.
I will F Debbie Reynolds.
Okay.
How brave.
You said that like you're making a real sacrifice.
I will take one for the
will
team.
Do that. Okay.
And I will kill Donald O'Connor and I will no. Wait.
You'll marry Donald O'Connor.
I'll marry Donald O'Connor and I'll kill
And
Gene
you'll
Kelly.
also kill Gene Kelly.
Can I still fuck Gene Kelly before I kill him?
You will kill him through.
It's important that it's before.
Through fucking.
Yes.
That's how you kill him. That's your method. Yeah.
Asphyxiation.
You're both crazy. I'm absolutely marrying Gene Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'm marrying Gene Kelly. I'm effing Debbie Reynolds. And I'm killing Donald O'Connor. Sorry, Donnie.
Oh, but he's so cute in this too.
He's so cute. I don't want to kill any of them, but this is the situation we're in.
Gun to her head. We gotta do what you gotta
do what you gotta do.
The last thing I need you to do, because I'm going to put this in the podcast, there is the biggest boy band in the world, has a music video in which
Backstreet Boys?
In which they reference Singing in the Rain.
Uh-huh.
And if you go under your little collage of women, beautiful girls.
My binder's full of women.
And in your citation section, you click this.
Okay.
This is a song called Boy With Love by BTS.
Oh, wow. I've never heard the song before because it's not at all popular or known.
If you know the song Boy With Love, I would be shocked.
Are you kidding me? It's like on the radio. Of course I know this song.
First of all, Molly, what year are you in? You listen to the radio?
When I'm driving my car around town.
What do you have, like a 1997 Subaru? The only thing you have is a radio? Where's your aux cord? Where's your Bluetooth?
Halsey is on this song with them. What are you talking about I wouldn't know this song? I'm playing the music video, but of course I've seen it before. They're a very popular band. I know I make a lot of jokes about the fact that you like BTS too much, but like I know who BTS is.
Well, Molly, you may not know this, but BTS stands for Bangtan Sonyeondan, which does mean Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
Oh my God.
I'm happy to give you a curriculum if you'd like. Nice.
Take home tests.
Yeah. I got a whole
coursework. Absolutely.
Whole lesson plan mapped out. That was it. Thank
Why
you for
am I watching this?
It's
because it has
Singin' in the Rain references. Singin' in the Rain reference.
What are the Singin' in the Rain references in this?
First of all, the movie theater that they're at has Singin' in the Rain posters. They dance on there's a part where they dance around on the, what's that called? Light pole. And then at the end, RM is like performing on the stage, and then they all the like.
It's the Broadway Mama Gotta Dance.
It's hard to show you when I can't scrub the video for you.
No, I'm doing it for yeah. I do know what you mean. Yeah, with these signs are very much Singing in the Rain. Yeah.
With the like running of the audience, like full hands up like that. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please email us. Let us know what you think of Singing in the Rain.
Mm-hmm. And why it's the best movie musical of all time.
And if you think there's a better movie musical, tell us. Email us.
Yeah.
And we'll watch it and we'll tell you if you're right.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you,
Thank
RJ.
you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work today.
I am so tired. I think this is the most work I've done in a while.
Was it because of the pressure that it is the movie musical, so you wanted to like be fully?
I have to give it its due.
Due.
It's due. Beautiful girls. Da 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 da. Beautiful girls.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for listening to the best revival of a podcast, Showgays. You can find us on social media. Adam is at Adam Noecker on Twitter. RJ is at RJ Food Rocks on Instagram. And Molly is at Molly Matiny on Instagram. This episode was edited and mixed by Adam Noecker. This has been an Ampliverse production. You can find our show page and more information at theampliverse.com. If you'd like to send us your own takes on the movie we just watched, reach out to us via email and we might read it aloud on the show. Our email is showgaysmoviemusical@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your podcasts. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to help others find the show. And now, as always, the show must go on, so stick around to hear what we're going to be watching next episode.
This was Germany in the early 30s,
Hello, stranger.
full of life and love.
Meine Damen und Herren, Mesdames et Messieurs, Ladies und Gentlemen, Fräulein Sally Bowles!
This was Sally Bowles in the early 30s,
Oh, well, I dash all day and I work late at the cabaret.
full of life
I love parties. Doesn't my body drive you wild with desire?
and love.
Oh, Brad.
A special girl.
I'm gonna be a great film star. That is if booze and sex don't get me first.
On the brink of something fantastic.
I mean, it would be funny, wouldn't it, if he asked me to become the next Baroness von Hoyne in Regensburg?
And frightening.
I'm Sally Bowles.
I'm Brian Roberts.
And I have this strange, mystical, daddish feeling about you. So you're moving right in, okay? Okay? Have you ever slept with a dwarf?
Once, but it wasn't a lasting relationship.
Do you sleep with girls or don't you?
Sally, you don't ask questions like that.
I do. Poor man. He tries to love me. I may have my tiny faults. God damn it, I'm gonna have a baby!
Sally is rather knowledgeable in these areas.
Does it really matter as long as you're having fun?
What good is sitting all alone in your room? Come, hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Start by admitting from cradle to tomb. It isn't that long a stay. Life is a cabaret, old chum. It's only a cabaret, old chum. And I love a cabaret.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.